because I'm in there, of course. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ghost PM. I'm your host, Roger Belt. John will not be able to be on the show tonight, but he's supposed to be in the chat room with us. So, anyway, we have Lifting Spirits Paranormal with us. And if you would say hello, tell everybody who you are.
Hey everybody, my name's Daniel Hare. My wife Carla and I are the founders of Lifting Spirits Paranormal Society, and we are primarily out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
What better place to be out of?
Mm-hmm. True that.
So, Gettysburg, how many times have you guys investigated out there? The
Um,
battlefield.
well, pretty much countless times for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah, all over there. It doesn't really matter where you go there. You can just be on the street. We've had some of the most impressive things happen even just on the streets. Yeah.
I figured it would be overloaded, because of so much carnage and everything. And it wasn't just on the battlefield. There were, soldiers in some of the houses, and of course, the woman that got shot, and uh, what was it, the sniper in the window of the one house, and so you figure it's pretty much all over.
Well, yeah, I mean the battle, started on the south end and it swept, or the north end rather, and swept the whole city, from all angles. When you look at that city on the map, Gettysburg, it's a borough, it's not even a city. Um, you can try to imagine even 52,000 people alive, standing around that city. That's tremendous, let alone about that many casualties, dead
Right.
people. It's insane. That's craziness. Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of, I've heard a lot of people talk about different stuff they've seen there, and I've read a lot, concerning. In fact, I did a show with Mr. Burke, who put the book out, Ghosts of Gettysburg. Have you read that?
I haven't read that one, no.
It's pretty interesting. And they actually did ghost box sessions and stuff like that. And they would use like actual diaries from some of the soldiers, to talk to them because they would know by the diaries what was going on with them. So they would kind of play into that and work really good for them.
Yeah, yeah, we've ran into quite a bit of spirits that were, they seem like they're in that residual state where they're still seeing the war going on around them, or they're and not aware that they're dead.
Yeah.
Multiple times we cross human spirits over into heaven, so that's the whole goal. And when we're trying to talk to them, we've literally had to almost convince them that they'd passed away, and like inform them of this, and then they literally have said like, oh snap, like I'm dead,
Right.
or I'm dead, just like, you know what I mean. So it's
Well,
it's
think about that from the aspect of they've been fighting this battle over and over and over for how many years?
150, oh what is it, 153 or 54, something like that.
And to find out all of a sudden, hey, I ain't got to fight anymore.
Right, right. Yeah, they don't yeah, it's crazy. There's been, we've ran into them where they say that they're still wounded, and still laying there wounded,
Right.
like that, like just in almost like a sleeping state. Yeah. So it's definitely a good thing to help them cross over. It's a really big event when that happens. First we go there and we kind of, bless the area so that it's peaceful for them to cross over. And they know us by now there, and they talk to us like crazy. It's like I'll tell you the one story about we were down there right on Baltimore Street. It's in the area called considered no man's land, kind of by the Jenny Wade house. And we're investigating down there, and Deacon, our team member Deacon, he has recently been like channeling spirits. So we're there and we're about to cross them over and start praying and everything. And a spirit channeled Deacon, spoke through him, is what I'm talking about. And so first, the spirit said through the sweep radio, they said, right now. And then Deacon he piped up like this. He said, heaven. And it didn't even sound like his own voice. And then right after he said that, the spirit said through the sweep radio again, said, right now. And to make it even better, um, there was traffic, cars going by on the road right there. So when Deacon said heaven, in perfect synchronization, in perfect simultaneous noises, when he said with his syllables saying heaven, a car in the background beeped its horn. It went beep beep in perfect synchronization with Deacon's syllables when he said heaven. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And the
Well,
first thing,
do they? Have you actually witnessed them still doing battle?
they've said that they still see the war going on around them. They've said that a lot. We've heard, like out on the bridge, Sachs Bridge there, we've heard literally a line of soldiers walking across the bridge like their boots, like a whole bunch of them.
Right.
Um, like I don't see spirits unless it's a cloud of ectoplasm in the flash of the camera. That's the only time I really see them, or I have seen them out of the corner of my eye, like you do. Everybody does pretty
Yeah.
much. But I heard that. I heard those boots walking across the
What
bridge, and
about like the cannons and the muskets and stuff? You hear that stuff?
yeah, yeah, we've heard that too actually before. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's on my bucket list. I'm going to get up there one of these days if the good Lord's willing. I live long enough, but yeah, I'd love to go up there.
Oh yeah, we'll take you on a tour. Hmm.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that and Penhurst is like my main two bucket list places that I want to go to before I go over to the other side.
Yeah. Don't miss the light when you see it.
But
Yeah.
I mean, because both of those places actually had a lot of tragedy. I don't know how familiar you are with Penhurst, but a lot went on in there too,
I
and
have heard about that.
people were mistreated really bad, and it was horrible.
Yeah, I don't like to go I don't like to go anywhere to investigate where I can't cross them over because
Yeah,
my heart just sinks when if somebody tells me I can't do that, it's like it sinks. Like
well,
they
and that's the thing about places like that. You know, that's their bread and butter. They don't want you sending their bread and butter off somewhere else.
That's true, and that's kind of crazy to think about. That is true when you say that. And for it to be, a reality of a deceased person trapped in a place, for a business profit,
Hmm.
that's pretty terrible, actually, pretty bad. But you know, I believe they'll all cross over one day, anyways. They just have to keep waiting, you know. So
Well, and it's as you said, I think a lot of them don't realize that they passed on.
yeah,
If they
yeah,
ever come to that realization, I believe they go on their own. You
yeah.
know, uh,
It's like a sleep. It's like they're sleeping. They're not necessarily in, the same pain that they would be living, but it's like a sleeping state, like a dream. Some
yeah.
of some of them.
Well, then there's the residual stuff that is just an imprint. It's not really even a spirit form, but um, so
Well,
you got to wonder about when you have a situation like that where something's imprinted. Where's the actual spirit that's was imprinted and it keeps playing over and over and over? Where's the actual spirit at?
I think they're there. I think that is the actual spirit. I just think that they're in that sleeping state where they're not fully aware. Because we've ran into those residual spirits, and we have, uh, we've woken them up, for say, and then they realize that they've died. They were one of the people still seeing the war going on around them, and we've, you know, talked to them. They were listening to us, and they acted like they woke up and came to a realization that they were a spirit now. So yeah.
You have to forgive me. I've got some congestion going on.
Oh yeah.
Trying not to do that on over the mic, but
Yeah. It's that time of year. All this hot and cold back and forth drives me.
yeah, I know it's keeping everybody tore up.
Yeah, can't get used to the cold when it's hot and then it's cold again. I don't mind the cold, but not when it's 60 degrees one day and then 15 degrees the next. That just can't get used to it, you know? Yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna pull this up here because I can't remember everything that I read. I'm bad about stuff like this. So, when did you guys actually found your team? What year was it when you started?
Well, I guess that well, we founded the team about I think it was about four, 4 or 5, about wait a minute, probably about 5 years ago, 5 or so, something like that. I'd have to ask Carla. I'm bad with dates like that, but about 5 years ago, something like that.
Well, what was it that jumped out at you and said, "Hey, we need to put a team together. We need to rescue these lost souls."
Well, that was something that Carla was being told to do through her automatic writing. Like she'll ask God a question, and she will go into like a zone or whatever, like a focus zone, and the pencil just takes over, and it's basically an angel uh, writing through her. So that's how she was told to go to Sachs Bridge and cross spirits over. So yeah, that's how because we just moved to Gettysburg, and just because it was a quiet small town, that's why we moved there. And then we just started looking for jobs, and Carla saw this ad for like a paranormal investigator to take tours. So we took that job, and the job was going to Sachs Bridge, and that's how we found the bridge. So the cards just fell in place, and um, I was hesitant at first myself, just because I know, that there's good and there's evil, and you have to be prepared for both,
Right.
which I had dealt with things in the past actually before I even met Carla, really serious things actually. But yeah, so it sounded good to me and it felt good. Still feels good to do it. We are Christian, and it's kind of a controversial subject among the Christian crowd, but it feels good, and I know, and we're successful at it. And I do have some explanations for that to go into detail if you want, but I just know it feels good, and we're successful, so that's why we do it.
Well, I mean, it always feels good when you can, let somebody loose from being trapped,
Oh yeah.
and especially if it's in a situation like that where they've been fighting this battle for over 150 years,
Yeah, I
just
know.
all of a sudden realize that, hey, I don't have to do this anymore. I mean, that'd be, if I was that spirit, I'd be like, oh, this is so freaking awesome. I don't have to do this anymore.
Oh, I know. I
You
know
know?
the reality of it like that. Like me and Carla are definitely made for each other to be doing this kind of work. You saw it in the bio there, where the story I told you about it being a dream for us and reality for this guy that we saved his life. That was in the
Right.
Yeah, that was only like, let me backtrack just a little bit. We met, and as soon as me and Carla met, like I was traveling the country building grain dryers. That's a agricultural stainless steel silo that dries grain, hence the term grain dryer. But anyway, so met her traveling, and a year later we got married. And 6 months after we met, this guy looks up Carla on Facebook, thanking her for saving his life. And he's Carla and him are trading back bits and pieces of information because Carla kind of realized what he was talking about shortly after they started talking, and she was trading information with him, like asking questions like, and then this happened, to make, to convince herself what was being said was actually true. So what happened was this guy had a motorcycle accident. He was in the hospital, and in the middle of the night, he started bleeding to death. And Carla, this is a dream for Carla and me, remember? Carla goes into the hospital room and calls the nurses in, and they saved his life. And she saw his spirit leaving his body, and she was telling him to get back down here. He's got kids and a family and all this. So he did, and they saved his life. And just shortly after that, Carla went back into the room there, and the guy is thanking her, and he says, "What's your name?" And Carla told him her name and kissed him on the forehead, and she looked at his chart and saw his name. And that's how, when this guy looked her up on Facebook, all this started clicking, and she was like, "Oh my God, what am I?" And she was really actually freaking out. She come to see me, and she said, "What am I?" And I was like, only explanation I can have for that is we're just working for God in our sleep. That's the only explanation I got. I'm not in control of that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was there with her. I was actually kind of like leading the way. I carried her through the window. I remember that, and I remember walking down this hallway and seeing there's like a dark, it was like a shadow person almost sitting in a straitjacket, like rocking back and forth. And Carla said, "What about him?" And I said, "No, not him." And we kept walking. And yeah, so that was just 6 months after we met. We found that out. So that was kind of, you know, the tip,
Well,
letting
that's
us
pretty wild.
more. Yeah, yeah. And we've had other things like that too. I watched my brother slice his finger at work in a dream. I told him where he was in the shop. I told him what finger it was. I still remember the visual of it. The one shop door was halfway open with the sun coming through it. And yeah. Yeah, my mom calls me a few days later and she's like, "Your brother cut his finger really bad at work." And I was like, "Was it this finger?" And she was like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" And I was like, "I saw him do that in a dream." And she's like, "Wow." Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I mean, does that kind of thing not like run in your family, or because
I
most
haven't
of
heard.
the time when a sibling has something like that, either one of the parents did.
Well, my parents, well, I don't know. No, I haven't heard anybody talk about anything like that.
Well, now sometimes they don't talk about things like that.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, not everybody
Yeah.
wants to be called a fake, a fraud, a crazy person.
Yeah.
You know,
I like how people are getting more comfortable with it these days, though.
it's, I think, and I've said this before. I think more people are waking up,
Oh, yeah.
and I mean, I started waking up, and it's like about 3 years ago, maybe. And but I had weird stuff go on, when I was a kid, and I never thought much about it though, because I was just a kid. I thought, man, my imagination's running away with me.
Right.
But then,
Yeah.
like, about 3 years ago, I started realizing, hey, I don't think my imagination was playing all them games with me. And
Mhm.
actually, I saw spirits when I was 9.
Yeah.
Or I'll say a couple of them. I won't say like I just saw them everywhere, but I did see a couple of them that I know were, because one was my next door neighbor's mother, and I knew she had died. And
Hmm.
I saw her just as real as you are.
Wow.
And walked right by me and my little brother on the sidewalk. You talk about two little kids browning their pants and running in the door and locking it. Yeah, stuff like that was going on. But yeah, I saw that, and you're going down the sidewalk, and as soon as I cut into my yard, I turn around, she's gone.
Yeah. Did you have any kind of any event or any kind of anything that might have let helped you to start with that gift, or did it just kind of start happening? I mean,
If
I'm talking about like your
you're
death
talking about like
experience,
some kind of traumatic event or something like that.
and like a near death. Like, did
No,
you
no.
no?
When I say near death, I'm talking about I was in a vehicle running 70 miles an hour, came up on a T in the road, and I didn't die. So yeah, that was a near death to me. You know,
That's well, I call that an act of God that you didn't
yeah,
die.
because I should have by all means wiped out
Oh,
bad, but I didn't.
oh,
And,
oh yeah. You don't. You said you were on a motorcycle
no, I was in a car.
in a car, 70 miles an hour. You
Yeah,
T-boned another car.
and I was drunker than Cooter Brown.
No, see, the seatbelt probably should have snapped your neck at 70 miles an hour. I mean,
All I
that.
remember is I locked up the brakes. It spun around about 3 times and stopped heading back the way I just came.
Yeah,
And where the back end of that car stopped was like just before it would have been out in the other lane.
yeah,
So I mean, that to me was a miracle, because I shouldn't have. I don't think I should have been able to stop like I did, but and I was just picturing, because when I saw that T coming up on me and everything, I just knew I was fixing to go across that and through that field and whatever. But I
yeah,
would have had to went up a hill, so I would have flipped probably no telling how many
yeah,
times, and
yeah.
I didn't. So
Right. Yeah, I did that, but you didn't have like an impact or nothing. You didn't have did you have whiplash or anything like that?
No,
No.
actually
No.
nothing. I mean, I was not injured at all, and that's why I say it was a miracle.
Yeah. No kidding.
You know,
Yeah, I had a bad car accident too, actually. The one guy, my buddy was driving, and he was going like 60 or 70 in the snow in the wintertime. There was just enough snow in the center of the road to kind of pull on the car when you touched it with the tires. And he started fishtailing because it pulled him in and he overcorrected and he was fishtailing. And back and forth down a hill in the wintertime. And he, all of a sudden, he just let go of the wheel and gave up. And the car went straight off the road as soon as he let go of the wheel and into a ditch. And the ditch had a fieldstone wall that was at least a couple feet thick and about 4.5 feet tall. So the car was going straight that way. And I actually, this was an act of God right here, too. He kind of warned me that we're going to crash. And as soon as he let go of the wheel, God told me to grab the wheel and crank it into the wall. So I grabbed the wheel and I cranked it into the wall a couple turns, and the car bounced so perfectly that the motor mounts broke in the car and went into the firewall, but was not in our lap and our legs. And the back end of the car come up off the ground, and the trunk hit the top of the fieldstone wall and took out a whole row of the fieldstones, and it and smashed the trunk all the way to the back seat. And then the car came to a rest about 15, 20 feet before a gap in the stone wall, like an opening in the stone wall in a big tree.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. And we both, I had whiplash in my neck pretty bad because I put my hands, you're supposed to put your hands up next to your head just like this and relax. That's what you'll see somebody do in a like a crash test thing with a car. So that's what I did, and the airbag cut my cheek and gave me whiplash pretty bad. But we both opened our doors and walked out of it. Yeah, crazy.
That's miracles. Stuff like is a miracle.
It is. It is.
And I
Yeah.
think the reason why uh, I was in a wreck with my brother, he was driving, and it messed him up. And I come out of it with just a bruised spine. One of his eyes popped out of his head. He hit the steering wheel so hard,
Mm,
um, messed up his back. They had to graft skin and put on his back because it messed up his back.
man.
You know, and like I said, I came out. I got out of the car actually, and we had went off an embankment, and it was pretty steep, and we were down in the bottom of the area there. Just missed the telephone pole. I mean, missed it by 2 or 3 inches. And I climbed up the hill and waved down a car, and of course they called the police, and they immediately took me into custody because I was public drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell them what's going on here, you know. And but I was able to do that, and I'm grateful I was able to do that, you know, because. But I think what happens in situations like that is when you're really intoxicated, you're limp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not stiff, so you're
Well.
not gonna. Uh,
Well.
I remember my head bouncing off the windshield. I do remember that.
Yeah. I mean, to an
No,
extent. To an extent,
no.
but still. Yeah. To an extent, I have heard that it does help to be relaxed. Yeah.
But I don't know if that had anything to do with um, situations that I've experienced. You know, I don't know if it had anything to do with that because you know maybe it rattled that little pea around up there and opened something up. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
But and see that was still several years ago. So if it was connected, it would seem like it took a long time for anything to happen.
Yeah,
But nothing in the last 3 years that I can think of would have caused anything like traumatic or anything like that.
yeah, yeah.
All
Just
I just started having really vivid dreams for one, all of a sudden, and
yeah,
I still haven't got the answers to them because they were like nothing that had experienced. Dream wise. I mean, I remember having nightmares and stuff that I knew weren't real, but these dreams were like I was there, and they're just really hard to explain. I mean, I could describe to you in detail everything I saw, and
yeah.
then it
It's
went from that to somebody would send me some pictures, and I would see things in those pictures that they didn't see.
yeah, yeah. I'm pretty good at. Well, I'm really good at listening to EVPs, and I'm pretty good at seeing the pictures too. So is Carla. Carla's better than I am. Carla can she can see him standing there like it's a person when it just looks like nothing to me. And she starts drawing it out with the tip of a pencil, and you start seeing all these details, and it's like, what the heck?
Right.
What in the world? How did you even see that standing there? You know what I mean? So I can do the EVPs real good though. I can tell you what a spirit's saying while you're talking. Yeah.
Now, see, that's pretty cool because I got to have of course, I'm hard of hearing anyway, but I got to be listening intently, and I can't have a bunch of people, doing this at the same time.
Oh yeah, it's got to be perfectly quiet. Definitely for that for sure. Yeah. This one oh man, this was really cool. Couple dreams. Like, I told you me and Carlos, saved that guy's life in our sleep, like working for God or whatever. Well, I've had these other couple dreams where I actually woke up, and what I was dreaming of, it was like I was having this vocabulary lesson, and from an angel, and I kind of Carla wakes up next to me because I'm talking, and she said I was using these gigantic words. These words were so big, and she had no idea what I was saying. And and when she mentioned that, I remember this dream. It was like a vocabulary lesson. It's wild. Like I'm getting trained in my sleep or something. That's what it seems like.
And it's
But
a possibility, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I did one time. I was on Skype with a friend that lives in New York, and I'm in Tennessee. And I described stuff in one of her rooms in her house, and I've never been there, and she's never told me what was in there. But I
right.
was able to describe things in a certain room in her house. And
That's cool.
I mean, she was talking about the room had evil in it, and they don't go in there. They got stuff stored in there, but they don't go in there.
Yeah,
And I asked her if it was across the hall from where she was at. Yeah, I said, the door's open. And I started describing stuff in the room, and it's not like I was trying to do this. It was just like bam, bam, bam. This is in there. That's in there. This is in there. You know, and I have no idea where it come from. You know, why I was doing that. And that's the crazy thing about it.
yeah,
That's why I say when you're waking up, you don't know what you're dealing with because it's new to you.
right. Yeah, that sounds like that sounds like a little bit of remote viewing, like Carla has.
It may be. I've never done it before.
Like, yeah, yeah. That well, maybe you were getting this information, about that room there because have you ever do you cleanse houses or anything like that?
Never have.
No. Oh, well.
No, but I've always said that because I do investigations, and I've never went into a place afraid,
Yeah.
and I don't because I believe within every fiber of my body that I have a guardian angel that watches over me, and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
good.
and I tell people, look, I'm not scared because if somebody watches over me, that's a lot tougher than anything that's going to be in there. So
Yeah.
I don't go in scared. And our team actually is a Christian based team also.
Yeah, that's good. We definitely say like protection prayers and things before we go out there. It's real important to do that.
Well, yeah,
Um,
we do that, but I mean, I just
yeah,
don't. I don't have no fear of
yeah,
it. I haven't. Now, I'm not
right.
saying I never will. I might run into something sometime that might just scare the crap out of me. But so far, I've never, went in or came out afraid.
Yeah, speaking of guardian angels, when we first got to Gettysburg, this was broad daylight, and it's if you've ever been there, you'll know the largest monument on the battlefield is the Pennsylvania Monument. It's the big white one with all the names around it, and there's an angel with a sword on top of it. Um, soon we went out there on that part of the battlefield to pray for peace, and for spirits to cross over. And as soon as I started to pray, I felt an angel land next to me. It hit the ground next to me. Like it made the ground, like if you toss a pebble in some water, how it
Right,
makes the water ripple like that. I felt the ground ripple like that. It went boom right next to me, but I didn't hear anything. I just felt the ground ripple like that. That was wild.
yeah, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And this another time, um, we were actually taking a tour with some people at that time, and this kid, this kid just was not patient at all. He asked a couple questions, and if I would have known what he was gonna say, I wouldn't have let him. But he just spit it out real quick and said something real offensive to the Confederates, and because the North won the war,
Right,
said something offensive to them, and as soon as he said that, this tree fell, um, a big tree, like it was probably 70 feet tall and dead, and it was it had been leaning there. It had been leaning there for like 3 months. This tree had been 3 months. It had been leaning there, and as soon as he said that, that tree fell. You know what I mean? So the tree was dead and fallen over, but it had been there for 3 months, and the timing was just real
right. I
convincing.
mean, it could have stood there for years like that.
It could have, but when he said that, it fell. Yeah,
Well, there was a rebel pushing on that tree from behind.
there was. I
Yeah,
it
that's what
was.
I'm saying. Hey,
He,
I got something for you, buddy, right here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He looked at me and was like, "I bet you're gonna tell everybody that story." Like, yeah, I am.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, of course. Yeah, another. Oh, this is a good one too. Another.
I'm sorry.
Oh, bless you, man. But another time when, like, this was the first year we got there, and we went out there. My mom was visiting actually, and we went out there to pray for peace once again, and for the spirits to cross over. And we did it. And when we were leaving, my mom said, "Well, I want to make sure nothing follows us." So I said, "Well, we'll make sure nothing follows us." And I said, "In Jesus' name, no spirits are welcome to follow us. Amen." And as soon as I said that, the bridge moaned like a semi, or I mean cars used to cross it. So something heavier than that, the bridge just went, "Ooh," just like that. And we all looked at each other and we were like, we all heard that same thing, right? And we were like, yeah, yeah, the bridge just moaned. And so we're like, yeah, I guess they are staying, aren't they? Not following us. So to make it even better,
That was like everybody
we
getting off the bridge.
yeah, well, there was nobody out there,
Well,
but
I'm
there,
talking
but
about the everybody you can't see.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. So we then we left, and this guy that we used to, well, we still know him and everything. He went out there right after we left, like 10 minutes after we left, and he said he got onto the bridge and he said, how you guys doing tonight? Like talking to the spirits of the soldiers. And he said the bridge moaned like that again, and he went running for his truck, fumbling with his keys and everything. And he looked us. He got on Facebook and he was like, "I was just out to the bridge. You're never gonna believe what happened. What just happened?" And we're like, "I bet we will. We're just out there." And he was like, "Oh, you guys, it was your fault. You were out there doing your thing, and you pissed them off, and or pissed some of them off, you know, because there's a big in places where stuff like that happens, or even in general, there will be these demons that take energy from other spirits as well and kind of hold them captive.
Yeah,
And in some cases, not you can't group it all into one case with anything, but I do know that that happens because I do know that there is evil, quite a bit of evil out there because of the murder. You gave the devil a place when you were murdering like that. So yeah, so that's yeah, we've got pictures of some of those too. Really creepy, ugly, just what they are, devils. So, but yeah,
so
yeah,
tell
it's
me, have you ever actually had to do battle with a demonic force?
when I was we've blessed houses and things like that where there was bad stuff like that going on, but in out there on the battlefields, when we're praying for peace and things like that, the whole thing of it is like we stand and we believe. We stand. God tells us to stand and he'll fight for us. So we're standing, we're believing, and we're asking him to do it. So I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not putting my dukes up and getting into it with a demon, but God is. But I have had scenarios where I messed up or ran into something really serious and tried to get attacked. Well, kind of got attacked. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Um, Probably the most intense uh, thing was when I was like 19 years old. I heard of this. I heard of a neighbor that had a spirit laying in bed with him and a little dog walking across his bed, and he said it was harassing him, keeping him up at night. And it was, so I went over there to pray for it to leave, and a woman came out of the house, um, crying like uncontrollably, and as soon as she walked out of the threshold of the door, she looked like a deer in headlights, and she wasn't crying anymore. So it was obviously a demon, afflicting her while she was in the house.
Right.
You can say human spirit, disgruntled human spirit if you want to, but this had much more energy, I think. Anyways, as soon as I walked through the front door, before I even had a chance to start praying, this demon tried to possess me by pressing on my face. It was entirely numb from my upper lip all the way up my forehead, was entirely numb. because it was pressing on me. And as soon as I started to pray, it backed right off of me. And I was a little shaken, but I still went through the whole house and prayed, you know. So that was the end of that there. I didn't talk to that guy again. I wasn't sure what what happened after that with him. But about a month or two later, I heard of the neighbor's little girl was like 3 years old, and she was describing this a man to her parents. This man had no mouth and a little dog with him, and like they never told this little girl about the neighbor's spirit problem. They didn't tell her about that or nothing. She wasn't making this up because she told her parents that details of what he looked like, said he had no mouth, and when she went to tell her parents about him, he went shh like this, like don't tell him. And she couldn't pronounce his name, so she called him Bia for short, and I kind of took that as Beelzebub, another name for the devil.
Right.
So so and then she said, see, this was what was the convincing part, because she's telling her parents about this, and then she tells her parents that he asked if he could come inside and play, and she told him he could. And that's what that has to happen to get a demon in the house. You have to do something. You have to give the devil a place, just like God says you do. Invite them in, and you can do that by bringing an idol into your house, or something like a murderous idol, like a African headhunter idol. I know a case of a guy that did that.
Well, there's
And
all kinds of objects that can be attached that you can bring in.
yeah, an idol. This idol was sitting in the closet for years, and the guy put it up on his shelf in his living room, and the demon was loose in his house, possessing the kids. Yeah. So, um, but so anyway, the she told the story in the correct succession, and then she was really scared because she's seeing the demon in the house, and the parents were alarmed because they told uh, the person that I knew there, they told them about it, and they were alarmed, like they know the girl's not making this up. There's too
Right.
much deep. She's not making it up, and she's actually scared to the point of scaring the parents, because she's sitting there saying, he's right there, he's right there, and he's scaring me, he's mean, you know what I mean? So yeah, so then um I had actually worked for like 3 days in a row. I did UPS from 6 to 10 at night, UPS from 4 to 8 in the morning, and then I cut grass at a 900 lot RV resort, weed whacking, for from 8 to 5. And I did that for like both of those jobs, all three of those shifts, for like 2 days. And then I came home and I heard that story in succession, the correct way that it has to happen, all the details. And I said, not today. And I went over there saying the Lord's Prayer. And I had the mother and the daughter accept Christ into their heart as their savior. And I told it to leave, and it did.
That's cool.
It, yeah, they didn't have a problem after that because God did it. Yeah.
Anytime, and I'm not gonna quote God here when I say this, but anytime you leave a residence with a smiling face and everything is cool, they feel safe in their home. That's a feeling you can't explain.
I know.
I mean, it's kind of like that warm fuzzy. You know what I'm saying? Makes you feel
Oh,
good
yeah.
all over. Anytime that you can do that. And we had a lady that she had real bad EMF EMF in her house. It was an old house. The wiring was old and all that stuff. And you could hold a meter up to the wall and just drag it all the way down the wall and it'd just be pegging out.
Mm,
So it was like a fear cage. And she was seeing shadows, all kind of stuff in there. And once we
Man.
explained to her what happens with the EMF, and we was telling her she needs to get an electrician in. They need to check this wiring out because it's really bad.
Mm, man,
And
dude.
I mean, she was just grinning from ear to ear when we left there. She was just so happy that she didn't actually have spirits in her house. It was just all bad wiring. And I mean, it just makes you feel good. And of course, if there would have been something in there, we would have dealt with that. But apparently, her demons were all in the wiring. So that was good, actually.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. All that EMF like that. That's really
Yeah, and
it's surprising.
she stayed in this room, and it was a small room, and you could go all the way around this wall. Like start here and go. We started at the light switch and went down the wall, across, and back up, and it was just pegging out. So she was
Yeah.
basically staying in a fear cage, you know.
Mm,
And
man,
yeah,
that's
was,
terrible.
she was seeing all kind of stuff. And
I'll bet she was. That's terrible.
but
Man.
like I said, once she knew what was going on, of course she changed rooms. She didn't hang out in that
Yeah,
room anymore. But
usually you can feel that when you go into. I mean, I can. I can.
well,
Well, I've actually.
you can, but
You could.
I mean, there's times when I can feel spirits though, and it sort of feels the same.
Yeah, it
So
does.
I
I know
really
it
don't
does.
know for sure which one it is until I can prove, one or the other.
Well,
Uh,
it is the same. It is EMF. They're both
well,
EMF. They both
basically,
are.
and whenever I walk into a place, and of course, the real high EMF, it does the same thing. It's like somebody put a vice on my head and just started cranking the handle. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's that intense for you.
so I didn't know, like I said, until my partner took that meter out and we started running that meter across there. Then I'm like, okay, I know what it is now.
Yeah,
And we was able to explain to her what this causes and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. She should have taken a camping trip for a couple days and went slept in a tent.
Yeah,
That would that'd have been real nice.
what you call airing herself out, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, big time. That would have really done. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
mean,
every
I think y'all probably feel the same way whenever you cross somebody over. Though it's that same good feeling that you get, knowing that they're not stuck here anymore.
yeah, it really is. Like I can't even hardly stand to watch the reenactment like marches anymore. Like you see all those soldiers walking down the street, and it just reminds you of all that happened.
Yeah.
I cry seriously. I do actually. Just thinking of it, it's terrible, man. You can think of the history of it and things, but the reality of everybody getting together and killing each other is really bad. That's that's terrible. It's
Well,
so many right
when you
now.
think about the Civil War, though, um, so many deaths and so much carnage. But when you think about the fact that you had uh, father against son, brother against brother, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
that would make it, like, to me, 10 times worse than it would have been. Like if we went and fought in World War II, and we're fighting, the Germans or whoever, over there.
hmm
But you're fighting your family. You're killing your own family.
yeah,
And
yeah. And it was man, yeah. There's all kinds of details that are really terrible. It's if you weren't man, the surgeries back then.
oh
They
yeah,
oh my god, you a freaking bone saw that would
yeah,
use everybody else. They
You
wipe
know,
it off on your.
and their anesthetic was chewing on a piece of rope or rawhide or
Oh, it wasn't no. Their anesthetic was a hot iron. That was their anesthetic. No, not anesthetic. I mean their antiseptic. Their
I'm talking
that was
about
a
the anesthesia. You know, the only thing they had, they didn't have anesthesia. They put a piece of wood or a rawhide strap or something in their mouth, you know, to bite down on.
mm-hmm. They did. They had like morphine at that time, but ain't nobody there. There wasn't people getting. There wasn't 52,000 or
Right.
thousands and thousands of people getting morphine.
I don't
You know,
even think they called it that. Wasn't
there
it called Lognan or something? Lognan?
was it?
Something with a L.
Yeah,
Logden or Lognan or something.
yeah, yeah. I think you're right. But yeah, it was man, dude, just terrible.
Lognan, I think is what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if they had, even if they had some there, the casualties would have been coming in so fast that it wouldn't have, you know, they wouldn't have had enough to give everybody, you know, anyway.
Dude, there was people laying next to a creek bed that just got washed away, and they all died in a mass pile in a debris dam. That happened. You know,
See, that's just
that happened.
crazy.
It's they're laying there wounded so they can get a drink of water, and then it was raining during that battle, and that happened too. I mean, just you couldn't win.
Exactly.
And so yeah, yeah. So we're out there at the bridge, and this is where we did like one of the first shows for the true ghost stories there, and we we get done, and Carla says, I'm gonna have Daniel step over here, and we'll, you guys can cross over. So she says, so line up, and as clear as day, this male spirit says, get in the line, like that. Yeah.
Okay, we're you guys want to do an hour, so we're out of time. But real quick, kind of give everybody a little bit about the ghost true ghost stories thing. What's going on there?
That is teams from all over the world doing live, raw, unscripted investigating. Just people like you and me that investigate. No scripts, just who we are and how we do it. And
Doing what you do.
yeah, exactly. Not nothing for show. Just the real deal. And they're in negotiations with three major cable networks right now. So hopefully, really soon, it's gonna actually take off. They're interested. They like it, and we think it's really close. For us to be teamed up with Sherry, Emily, and other people too. I'm not sure how many people's names I can say, but anyway, to be teamed up with them and for them to actually do the work to get this in front of cable networks and even the possibility of it being on TV like that, that's just amazing. It really is.
Well, I mean
Yeah,
that's something I would want to see more than I don't even watch the paranormal shows that they have on
me neither.
because
No.
I feel like it's all a bunch of hype. I'm not saying that there's not ever any actual activity going on, but I think a lot of it's just hyped up for ratings. You
Yeah,
know,
me and
and
Carla, we're
they
just
call
as
it reality, but it's really not reality. You know,
yeah, we're sitting here, we're sitting here listening to them, you know, on TV say what they're trying to do, and we just see right through them. Like if they're not telling the truth, it just ain't flying even a little bit.
right?
It's
You
like,
know,
oh,
I
no,
think
you're
it
not.
should be that way where it's raw and it's not scripted and
Right.
you don't have a sound crew and a video crew going in ahead of you to fake stuff up for you. You know,
True.
um, and I've heard of cases where they did that to the ghost hunters bunch. They would go in and set up stuff to make sure they caught something. You know, because it would
Mm.
boost the ratings up.
Yeah,
And
that's
you know, it needs to be just pure raw. Um, you know, nobody goes in till you go in, and then they come behind you and they're filming and they're doing whatever. You know, but
right.
unfortunately, that's not how it is right now. So yeah, I'd look forward to seeing that. I'd like to see that.
I know it. I know it. It's amazing, man. Each one of the shows that we've done, like we'll have to do another radio show or something. I gotta do a video to where I can release it and show some people or something because it's crazy. It's crazy. They interact with us so much because our motives are genuine and sincere for them. Like I don't really count on them. They don't have to talk if they don't want to. It's just they do. They just end up interacting. It's wild. Very wild.
That is just awesome, though. I'd love to see that. And if you guys film one, you're gonna have to slip me a copy of it
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so I can check it out.
Yeah, there's a ton of we have a ton of pictures on and EVPs on the website there, the Lifting Spirits Paranormal Society.com. And Carla's well, she talks to God literally and the angels, and that's how she does her readings. So yeah, she does readings there also. She told this guy in Norway to get on a plane and go to Paris to another airport because his girlfriend was going to be there that night, and she was. So guy had to buy a plane ticket to go to another airport on this day at this time to meet his girlfriend that left him that was coming back, and she was there when Carla told him she was going to be. Yeah, all kinds of
That's
stuff.
pretty cool. Okay, if you have any other links you want to give out, go ahead and do that.
Oh, let's see. Well, the website. As far as the link, the website. Yeah, on the website, right? What? Your Facebook page? Oh, I guess. Well, she's got Lifting Spirits with Angel readings on Facebook.
Right.
That she does some readings there too. I'm trying to get that group to shift gears a little bit. I want her to schedule like a Facebook Live reading, like once or twice a week, so
Yeah,
she can engage the whole audience to watch it like a TV show. What do you think about that?
that'd be pretty cool.
I know it. And that way, because right now she's been giving like almost everybody that joins the group, she gives them a reading. And it's so much work. Like when one person gets a reading, they go tell 5 or 10 they tell everybody they know. And she can't give the world a reading. She just can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It, it would be nice, but you just can't give everybody in the world a reading. So I'm trying to get her to engage the whole audience in more like a TV show.
You know, can you do like a mass reading? I wonder.
Well, she can do group readings where
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a mass, you know, a group of people.
yeah, well, I mean, the group of people would be sitting in a room, or she'd have to be able to see them, or well, no, she doesn't have to be able to see them actually. She can do it by a screen name. But anyways, yeah, she'd still be picking out people for individuals, and she'd have to talk to the group, and the group would be able to say that yes, I know the person you're talking about and all that. So yeah, she can do group readings too.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you coming on. It was really good. I enjoyed it,
Oh
and
yeah,
we'll have to do this again sometime.
we definitely will. We got to get Carla on here to do some readings.
Oh,
because
that'd be great. Yeah,
she's got to. She's got to.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Everybody in chat, thanks so much for coming. I appreciate it. Everybody that's listening and watching and not in chat, thanks for coming. We appreciate it. Couldn't do a show without you. Not sure what's coming up on Wednesday yet. We may uh, have to bypass. But anyway, on the 12th, Linda, Linda Morton Howell, very interesting lady. And I know everybody's going to want to be there for that. So if not before then, we'll see you guys next Sunday and have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for having me.